Alexander Fleming, one of the greatest scientists in the history of medicine, changed the way the world viewed and dealt with infectious diseases. With an astonishing stroke of luck, he discovered penicillin, an invention that not only saved millions of lives, but also ushered in the antibiotic era, one of humanity's most significant advances. Imagine living in a time when simple infections like pneumonia or strep throat could be a death sentence. Without antibiotics, medicine was nearly powerless against these diseases. This was the reality of the world before 1928, before Alexander Fleming, with the keen eye and persistence of a scientist, changed everything. On a day that no one would have thought would become historic, Fleming accidentally noticed an area devoid of bacterial growth around a mold in his petri dish. From this simple observation, a medical revolution was born. Fleming was not only the discoverer, but also a symbol of scientific spirit. The discovery of penicillin was not a mere stroke of luck, but the result of years of hard work and keen observation. He recognized the value of this phenomenon when many others might have easily overlooked it. This sensitivity came not only from skill, but also from his love and relentless dedication to science. But Fleming's discovery did not stop at simply discovering penicillin. He understood that in order to make this invention a life-saving tool for humanity, collaboration and further development were necessary. This led to cooperation with scientists like Howard Florey and Ernst Boris Chain, who helped mass-produce penicillin, especially during World War II. Millions of soldiers were saved thanks to this drug, and millions of others found a chance to survive in a world where infections were once a death sentence. What was special about Fleming was not just his scientific talent, but also his far-reaching vision. He did not simply celebrate his success, but also issued important warnings about the misuse of antibiotics. Fleming was acutely aware that, if not used carefully, bacteria could develop resistance to the drugs, turning the benefits of antibiotics into a double-edged sword. His warnings, though made in the last century, remain highly relevant in the context of modern medicine. Alexander Fleming is a symbol of scientific curiosity and tireless dedication. He reminds us that great discoveries come not only from intellect, but also from patience and determination. Fleming's story is not just the story of a scientist, but also a testament to the power of the spirit of exploration, a spirit that continually seeks answers to life's biggest questions. With his great contributions, Fleming not only changed the history of medicine, but also left a profound legacy about how we should live and work. He taught that sometimes the smallest and most accidental moments can lead to extraordinary things. If we are sharp enough to recognize them and brave enough to pursue them, that is the greatest lesson Fleming offers to future generations. The lesson of daring to think, daring to act, and never stopping in the pursuit of new horizons in science and life. Alexander Fleming, the Scottish microbiologist, completely changed the history of medicine and how humanity faced infectious diseases through his revolutionary discovery, penicillin. What makes this discovery extraordinary is not only the result, but also the way it was made. A unique combination of coincidence, intellect, and an unrelenting scientific spirit. The story of penicillin is not just the story of an invention, but also a symbol of human ability to find great solutions from the simplest things. It all began in 1928 when Fleming was conducting experiments at his laboratory at St. Mary's Hospital in London. While cleaning petri dishes containing golden staph bacteria, he accidentally noticed a dish infected with a special type of mold. The strange thing was that the area around the mold had no bacterial growth, while in other areas, bacteria were still multiplying vigorously. Instead of discarding the petri dish as a technical error, Fleming chose to carefully observe this phenomenon. It was this keen and scientific curiosity that led to the great discovery of the mold's ability to kill bacteria, which he later named Penicillium notatum. Fleming realized that this mold produced a substance capable of killing bacteria, and he named it penicillin. However, the work didn't stop there. He spent the following months testing and confirming the effectiveness of penicillin against various types of pathogenic bacteria. The results were astounding. Penicillin not only killed Staphylococcus bacteria, but also worked against many other types of bacteria, including those causing pneumonia, septicemia, and syphilis. This was a major breakthrough in medicine, offering hope for patients who previously only had death waiting for them. However, discovering penicillin was just the beginning of a challenging journey. Fleming faced great difficulties in extracting and purifying penicillin so that it could be used for treatment. In its natural form, penicillin was unstable and difficult to preserve, making its production and application incredibly complex. Despite these limitations, Fleming did not give up. He published his discovery in 1929, hoping that other scientists could continue its development. However, at that time, the impact of penicillin was not fully recognized, and Fleming's work did not attract significant attention. It was not until a decade later, with the cooperation of Howard Florey, Ernst Boris Chain, and the research team at Oxford University, that penicillin was truly put into practical use. They found a way to extract penicillin on a large scale and turn it into a life-saving drug. During World War II, penicillin became the most important medical weapon, drastically reducing the mortality rate from infections in the military. Soldiers who were wounded, instead of facing death from infection, had the chance to survive thanks to this drug. Penicillin was not only a scientific invention, but also a savior during a brutal war. Alexander Fleming was not only a great scientist, but also a visionary. He did not become complacent with his success, but always warned about the dangers of antibiotic overuse. He was acutely aware that if penicillin was misused, bacteria could develop resistance, turning it into a serious problem in the future. His warnings, though made last century, remain highly relevant today, as medicine faces the crisis of antibiotic resistance. What makes Fleming special is not only his discovery, but also his approach to science. He was not seeking greatness, but simply doing his job with dedication and insight. The coincidence in the discovery of penicillin cannot be denied, but without perseverance and the ability to see value in the smallest details, penicillin might have been forgotten. Fleming showed the world that science is not just about innovation, but about the ability to seize opportunities, no matter how small, to create great change. Alexander Fleming's discovery of penicillin not only saved millions of lives, but also changed how medicine approaches and treats diseases. It opened a new era where humanity was no longer powerless against infectious diseases. With this discovery, Fleming not only etched his name into the history of medicine, but also left a great legacy for humanity. His story is a living testament to the power of intellect, curiosity, and perseverance, reminding us that sometimes the greatest things can start from the smallest details. The development of the antibiotic penicillin from Alexander Fleming's initial discovery into a life-saving tool for millions is a challenging and miraculous journey, reflecting the power of collaboration, creativity, and human determination. Although Fleming discovered penicillin in 1928, turning this discovery into a widely produced and usable drug took many years of research and contributions from other scientists. This is proof that the strength of science lies not only in breakthrough ideas, but also in the ability to turn them into reality. Immediately after Alexander Fleming published his discovery, he realized that penicillin had great potential in killing bacteria and treating infections. However, extracting and purifying penicillin posed many challenges. At the time, technology and equipment were not advanced enough to produce penicillin in a pure and stable form. Fleming himself conducted numerous experiments but could not overcome the technical barriers. He even warned that penicillin might never be produced on a large scale, although he believed in its medical potential. A decade later, the real breakthrough came when scientists Howard Florey and Ernst Boris Chain at Oxford University began working on continuing Fleming's work. With support from a talented research team, they found a more effective way to extract penicillin and developed a large-scale production process. They used large fermentation tanks to culture penicillium mold and improved purification methods to obtain highly pure penicillin. This was a significant advancement, not only solving technical issues, but also bringing penicillin from the laboratory to hospitals. During World War II, the demand for penicillin became critical. War wounds, if not treated promptly, often led to severe infections and death. Thanks to the efforts of Florey, Chain, and their research team, penicillin was produced in large quantities and delivered to the battlefield. The arrival of penicillin changed the course of the war, significantly reducing mortality rates in the military and saving countless soldiers. Penicillin was not just a medical advance but became a symbol of hope in a dark time. One of the greatest challenges in the development of penicillin was finding resources to produce enough to meet the growing demand. Scientists had to collaborate closely with pharmaceutical companies and governments to build production infrastructure. Large factories were built, and new technologies were developed to optimize the production process. This was not only a scientific effort, but also an organizational and managerial feat, demonstrating excellent coordination between science, industry, and politics. However, the development of penicillin is not just a story of success, but also brings valuable lessons about responsibility and caution in medicine. From the outset, Fleming and his colleagues recognized that overuse of antibiotics could lead to serious consequences. They warned that bacteria could develop resistance if penicillin was not used properly. This was a prophetic warning, as today, antibiotic resistance has become one of the greatest challenges facing medicine. The development of penicillin is a prime example of how science can change the world when combined with the spirit of collaboration and dedication. Fleming, Florey, Chang, and many others tirelessly worked to turn an idea into reality, overcoming difficulties and challenges. Their success not only saved millions of lives, but also opened a new era in medicine, where humanity was no longer powerless against infections. The journey of developing penicillin is an inspiring story, reminding us that science is not only a tool to explore the world, but also a means to improve human lives. It shows that when intellect and compassion are combined, miracles can happen. Penicillin is not just a drug, but a symbol of hope, creativity, and the ability to transcend all human limits. Penicillin, discovered by Alexander Fleming, was not only a revolutionary invention in medicine, but also had a profound and lasting impact on how humanity faces infectious diseases. The influence of penicillin extended beyond saving millions of lives, creating a major turning point in treatment methods and global health management. The era of penicillin transformed the entire structure of medicine, ushering humanity into a new phase with unlimited expectations and possibilities. Before penicillin was introduced, infectious diseases were the leading cause of death worldwide. Pneumonia, tuberculosis, septicemia, and syphilis were diseases that could not be effectively treated, and patients often faced death or severe complications. With the advent of penicillin, for the first time, medicine had a powerful tool to combat these diseases. Penicillin not only killed harmful bacteria, but also significantly reduced mortality rates and complications, opening up survival opportunities for millions of patients. The greatest impact of penicillin was perhaps in the fields of surgery and wound treatment. Previously, surgical procedures were often faced with a high risk of infection, making complex procedures dangerous. With penicillin, this risk was significantly reduced, allowing doctors to perform surgeries they had never considered before. This contributed to the rapid development of surgical medicine, from complex heart surgeries to organ transplants. During World War II, penicillin proved to be irreplaceable. Infections from war wounds, once the leading cause of death, were effectively controlled with penicillin. Soldiers who were injured no longer faced certain death from infection, and survival rates on the battlefield increased significantly. This was not just a medical victory, but also a humanitarian triumph, saving thousands of soldiers and offering hope to their families. When Alexander Fleming discovered penicillin in 1928, he could not have foreseen that it would change the entire history of medicine. Although this discovery was revolutionary, it faced many difficulties in practical application. However, it was thanks to the efforts of Howard Florey and Ernst Boris Chain that penicillin was successfully developed into a drug that could be produced and widely used. The 1945 Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine was a recognition of the significant contributions made by all three scientists in turning an idea into a medical revolution. The Nobel Prize awarded to Fleming, Florey, and Chain was not merely an individual honor, but also sent a strong message about the value of collaboration in science. Fleming discovered the bactericidal properties of penicillin, but it was Florey and Chain who overcame the technical barriers to make this discovery a product capable of saving millions of lives. They developed methods for extracting, purifying, and producing penicillin on a large scale, especially during World War II, when the demand for antibiotics became more urgent than ever. One of the unique aspects of the 1945 Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine was the recognition not only of the scientific discovery, but also of its impact on humanity. Penicillin saved millions of lives, not only on the battlefield, but also in everyday life. During World War II, penicillin was considered a miracle weapon that greatly reduced the mortality rate from infections, from war wounds to pneumonia. The success of penicillin was not just a medical victory, but also a symbol of humanitarianism during a time of chaos. The Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine in 1945 also highlighted the role of innovation and the unceasing pursuit of solutions. Howard Florey and Ernst Boris Chain overcame numerous technical challenges to bring penicillin from the laboratory to the real world. They not only solved extraction and purification issues, but also worked with pharmaceutical companies to produce penicillin in large quantities. This is a prime example of how science, industry, and government can collaborate to bring about significant changes. Penicillin not only saved millions of lives, but also changed the way the world viewed medicine and science. Its success opened a new era in the research and development of other antibiotics, helping to control and treat many diseases that were once untreatable. Therefore, the 1945 Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine was not only a recognition of a single invention, but also a tribute to the vision and unrelenting effort of those who contributed to the progress of humanity. Furthermore, this award is also a reminder of the responsibility of science towards society. Penicillin, despite its immense benefits, has also raised new challenges, such as the phenomenon of drug resistance caused by antibiotic overuse. In his Nobel Prize acceptance speech, Fleming warned of this danger, emphasizing that the success of science can only be truly sustainable when it is used responsibly and with awareness. The 1945 Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine was a significant milestone in the history of science and humanity. It not only honored exceptional individuals, but also affirmed the value of collaboration and the spirit of discovery. Penicillin, with its far-reaching impact, changed how we face disease and opened new horizons for medicine. It is a living testament to the fact that the power of science lies not only in inventions, but also in the ability to turn those ideas into reality to improve human lives. The warning about drug resistance, issued by Alexander Fleming immediately after penicillin was introduced, was not just a prophetic reminder, but also an important lesson for modern medicine. When he received the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine in 1945, Fleming emphasized that the overuse or improper use of penicillin could lead to the emergence of drug-resistant bacteria, reducing the effectiveness of this drug and plunging humanity into a healthcare crisis. Penicillin was a turning point in the history of medicine, but its success also created previously unseen problems. With its ability to kill a wide range of harmful bacteria, penicillin quickly became a miracle drug used worldwide. However, this widespread use led to unforeseen challenges. Fleming, with his deep foresight, understood that without proper control, bacteria could evolve and develop resistance to antibiotics. He warned that using penicillin in insufficient or improper doses would create conditions for weak bacteria to develop resistance, diminishing the effectiveness of treatment. Antimicrobial resistance is not only a scientific issue, but also a social and public health problem. Fleming's warning has become an alarming reality in modern medicine. As penicillin and other antibiotics became more accessible, the indiscriminate use and over-the-counter availability significantly increased the phenomenon of drug resistance. This not only undermines the effectiveness of existing antibiotics, but also poses significant challenges in researching and developing new drugs. Bacteria like MRSA, methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus, have become a serious threat, pushing global healthcare systems into emergency situations. Fleming's warning also highlights the responsibility of scientists, doctors, and the community to use antibiotics properly. He believed that to maintain the effectiveness of penicillin, strict regulations for prescription and use of the drug were necessary. This message is not only relevant for his time, but also timeless. Modern medicine, despite many advancements, still faces challenges from superbugs. These challenges require innovation in scientific research, but also demand close cooperation between countries and the healthcare industry. Fleming's warning about drug resistance also underscores the role of education and public awareness in managing this issue. He understood that to prevent drug resistance, it was not only necessary to have interventions from healthcare experts, but also to raise the public's awareness of the importance of using drugs properly. Education programs about antibiotics, from schools to hospitals, have been widely implemented, but more efforts are needed to ensure that Fleming's message is carried out effectively. Furthermore, Fleming's warning laid the foundation for public health policies and long-term antibiotic research programs. International health organizations, such as the World Health Organization, WHO, have prioritized the issue of drug resistance. Many countries have enacted strict regulations for prescribing and using antibiotics, and have invested heavily in research to develop new drugs to combat resistant bacteria. These efforts are not only a response to Fleming's warning, but also a testament to the importance of combining science and policy to address global issues. However, despite the progress made, the problem of drug resistance remains, serving as a reminder that Fleming's warning has never lost its value. It raises the question of humanity's responsibility in protecting scientific achievements and ensuring that revolutionary inventions like penicillin are not wasted or abused. Fleming's warning is not just for scientists, but for all of humanity, reminding us that every individual has a role in maintaining the effectiveness of antibiotics and protecting public health. Fleming's warning about drug resistance is not only part of the history of penicillin, but also an important lesson for the future. It reminds us that no matter how far science advances, the power of inventions like penicillin can only be sustained when accompanied by responsibility and caution. In the modern world, where health challenges are increasingly pressing, Fleming's message continues to resonate as a call for constant efforts to protect and develop scientific legacies for the common good of humanity. Fleming's warning about drug resistance also highlights the role of education and public awareness in controlling this issue. He understood that to prevent drug resistance, it was not only necessary to have interventions from healthcare experts, but also to raise public awareness about the importance of using medications properly. Antibiotic education programs from schools to hospitals have been widely implemented, but more efforts are needed to ensure that Fleming's message is effectively carried out. Additionally, Fleming's warning laid the foundation for public health policies and long-term antibiotic research programs. International health organizations, such as the World Health Organization, WHO, have placed drug resistance on their list of top priorities. Many countries have enacted strict regulations on prescribing and using antibiotics, while also investing heavily in research to develop new drugs to combat resistant bacteria. These efforts are not only a response to Fleming's warning, but also a testament to the importance of combining science and policy to address global issues. However, despite significant progress, the issue of drug resistance remains, serving as a reminder that Fleming's warning has never lost its value. It raises the question of humanity's responsibility in protecting scientific achievements and ensuring that revolutionary inventions like penicillin are not wasted or abused. Fleming's warning is not only for scientists, but for all of humanity, reminding us that every individual has a role in maintaining the effectiveness of antibiotics and protecting public health. Fleming's warning about drug resistance is not just part of penicillin's history, but also an important lesson for the future. It reminds us that, no matter how far science advances, the power of inventions like penicillin can only be sustained when accompanied by responsibility and caution. In the modern world, where health challenges are increasingly growing, Fleming's message still resonates as a call for continuous efforts to protect and develop scientific legacies for the common good of humanity. Alexander Fleming left not only a great invention, but also valuable lessons about science, responsibility, and humanitarianism. Penicillin, from a chance discovery, became the foundation for a new era in medicine, where infectious diseases that once posed the greatest threat to humanity can now be controlled and effectively treated. His legacy is not only in saving millions of lives, but also in advancing the development of medical science and technology. Fleming reminds us that curiosity and the spirit of exploration are powerful drivers of great breakthroughs. He showed that even the smallest discoveries can bring about significant change if we never stop exploring and improving. At the same time, he also warned about humanity's responsibility in protecting and maintaining scientific achievements, emphasizing that abuse and lack of awareness could lead to severe consequences. Fleming's legacy is not only the story of a brilliant scientist, but also a reminder to future generations of the power of science when combined with compassion and a sense of responsibility. He inspires us to keep learning, creating, and using scientific achievements to serve the common good, protect health, and improve the quality of life for humanity. Today's and future generations must remember that curiosity, exploration, and responsibility are not only the core values of science, but also the guiding principles for the sustainable progress of humanity.